The continuous function is defined by this piecewise function. Alright, so when we have piecewise function, we draw out your interval. No need draw the graph, but we draw out the interval so that we can see the function continuous. Left hand side how, right hand side how. So less than a, 2x squared plus 4x. More than a, negative x plus 7. Is it continuous? When you say continuous means the changing point at a. You can see at a, less than a another function, more than a another function. Means their function may be not connected. When we not connected means not continuous, maybe. So where is your point here? The point you have to analyze here is x equals to a to make sure it continuous. To make sure left hand side equals to right hand side, the limit is axis, and then it can and then it's also equals to the point of the coordinate at x equals to a. So find the value of a if a is more than 0. The information given us is they say continuous. So when we know that is continuous, means the three condition is fulfilled. The three conditions that they are fulfilled. What's mean by that? Limit means limit exists. By how limit can be exists? A approaches left hand side have to be equals to A approaches right hand side. So that is condition number 2. Not only that, our condition number 3 is limit have to equals to the point. So what's your point here? What's your coordinate FA? Coordinate FA fall in this equation. So it is equals to FA. Means your limit approaches A from right hand side and the point they are calculation, they are in same calculation because your points just fall on the same function here with your limit right hand side. Alright, so then we start evaluate our limit. Substitute your a here. You get 2a squared plus 4a. Substitute your a. You get negative a plus 7. You get an equation, quadratic equation. When we get quadratic equation, we try to rearrange. And doing factorize, find out your a value. So is it both answer accepted? Question already give condition or request for the question. A have to be count positive value. Means we only accept A equals to 1. In other words, your point here is 1. Coordinate 1. So here, coordinate 1. X equals to 1. Hence, you sketch this piecewise function. So how to draw piecewise function? Draw part by part. Means you're drawing quadratic for x less than 1. Then you draw linear graph for x more than equals 1. Alright? Find your coordinate first. When x equals to 1 for the first function, which is 2x squared plus 4x. We want to know, you need to know where is the ending point. When x less than 1 means from the left hand side we draw the quadratic, but it must be end at 1, not included. Alright, you have to draw this graph at left hand side quadratic graph, and you end with at the point x equals to 1, and x equals to 1 is not included in this graph. So count the ending point here. Your ending point when x equals to 1, your function equals to 6. So your ending point for at 1, 6. And then for this quadratic, so quadratic, when you want to draw quadratic graph, you have to know what's the minimum point, what's the roots, right? So the shape, you know this is positive, so concave outward, positive. So what is your roots here? What's your intercept here? When 2x squared plus 4x equals to 0, what's your x? 2x we factorize. So your roots x equals to 0, x equals to negative 2. So negative 2 in the domain, x0 also in the domain. So your quadratic graph will pass through x-axis 0 and negative 2. Alright, what's your minimum point? What's your minimum point? What's your minimum point? Completing the square, right? Completing the square, right? So 2 factorize out first. This is a quadratic. 2 we take it out. Then completing the square, put your x square in the bracket. For the b term here, we divide by 2. So minus back. So after you expand, your quadratic 2x plus 2 square minus 8.
What is 2x squared plus 2?
Yeah, take out 2 already, right? So you have 2x divided by 2. So this one wrong. Divided by 2 is 1. Minus back this value square, 1. So 1 square is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. So your minimum point is x equals to negative 1, y equals to negative 2. Alright, so when you draw your graph, until x equals to 1, you know that your intercept is 0. X-intercept is 0. Minimum happen at negative 1 and negative 2. Do you pass through y-axis? Do you pass through y-axis? Yes, because you need to draw until 1, right? You need to draw until 1, right? So when x 0, y 0. So your y-axis fall here. Just imagine one piece. This is the first piece only. Until value of 1. This is your ending part, which is 6. This is one part, less than 1. Then we continue. If this one, linear starting point, negative x plus 7, starting point, x equals to 1, y equals to 6 also. Also they are continuous on the same point. They are connected at the same point. So straight up, negative x plus 7, it will be gradient, negative, right? So it will come down. Straight line that going down. So they got intercept also. So what's the intercept? When y equals to 0, negative x plus 7 equals to 0. So x equals to negative 7. So we get the whole piece. Imagine. Draw it properly. 7. Yes, negative, negative, positive 7. So draw it properly with the point. So you know that your point you need here is draw until 7. And the most left hand side here you have to draw until negative 2. Alright, so your changing point at 1 is 0, then 7, then what you need is negative 2. So here is our quadratic. Minimum happen at negative 1, then go up intercept 0, maximum 6, negative 2, Then continue with the linear graph going down, straight line. Yeah? Straight line going down until 7. Label your x-axis, y-axis, and your function.